The 2025/2026 playoffs are finally here. Damn, I'm so excited. Rams versus Panthers in wild card weekend. The rematch. How are these Rams going to avenge the loss early in this year and advance in this tournament? Me and Mark, we'll talk about that next on this game preview episode here on the Rams Up Podcast Network. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Rams Up Podcast Network. I'm Ian. That's Mark. If you're on YouTube and you aren't subscribed to the channel already, subscribe. And if you like our content, like this video, turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any other video throughout this insane 2025/now 2026 playoffs. And if you're on the audio only and or podcast only side of things, hey, share the audio, share the podcast, share the YouTube channel, share the video. Share it all, guys. It helps other Rams fans see our content. And me and Mark, we very much appreciate it. But, guys, it is time. The real season begins, and luckily the Rams are in it. Wild card round of this playoffs. Rams and Panthers, the rematch, Mark. This is who I want in round one, man.
Yeah, and how good do we have it? It's just an expectation at this point. We're going to be in the playoffs. So we've missed twice under McVay, I think. One was that god awful year with all the injuries, and another time 9-7 we just missed out. If I think I'm getting that right.
Yeah,
And
that was the final year before they added the 7 seed. If the Rams would have won one more game, they probably would have been in. But if the 7 seed existed back in 2019, the year we didn't get in, we would have been the 7th spot. Which the year after, then they created that, and I was like, dang it. But
yeah, so I hope Ram fans really appreciate where we are with this franchise, where it's just expected, and it usually happens. We want the 1 seed, we want the 2 seed, but I'll take the 5 seed and a trip to Carolina. There's a lot of franchises, a lot of fan bases that would exchange places with us in a heartbeat. Man, this is a good time to be a Ram fan, and hopefully about to get a lot better.
This is it. This is what everyone in the NFL wants. The team, the players, the coaches, the front office, everyone involved with the franchise, and the fans. This is it. You want a shot to win a championship, and it begins this week, everyone. Regardless if you play on wildcard weekend or you get the bye, you're in the dance. And it's time to dance. Mark, it's so important that the Rams take this game seriously, right? Win or go home. No slow starts. No defense is playing lackadaisical. Offense is miscuing, holding penalties, whatever it is. Special teams isn't covering kicks well or not blocking well. It's time to lock in. And Mark, it's just ultra important that this team doesn't screw around with a second opportunity to get right, quote unquote, against these Panthers. They went into Carolina previously and thought it was going to be some easy victory. A lot of the fan base felt that way. Look at me and you felt that way, that they should go in and convincingly win. And they got shellacked around a bit. Now, it was a high-scoring affair, but, Mark, this is it. This is who I wanted in the rematch of wild card round, because I think the Rams would take this game seriously, knowing that they let one get away not that long ago, right?
Yeah, and I think maybe having lost to them once already is a good thing. That's going to help their mental state, I think, having something to prove. But it also gives Carolina a little bit of an edge, too, knowing that they can beat the Rams.
Yeah.
And it's all going to be about, we'll talk about the keys to victory, obviously, but, they're going to try to pummel us in the run game, and we're going to have to show that we can stop it and not turn the ball over. But I think it is an advantage having lost to them. The Rams have revenge in mind, and absolutely going to take this game serious. Every playoff game, I guess there's still a temptation to take an opponent lightly, but even in a wild card game. But that's not happening in this game for sure.
Yeah, it's This needs to be taken seriously. Yes, Carolina is a under 500 football team, which is it's crazy. Crazy. That's a subject for later we'll talk about, but the history between these two teams, everyone, is pretty interesting. Again, we covered it last time when these teams met back earlier this season, not that long ago. And I was shocked to pull up, the overall history, right? I mean, Mark, if you look here, Rams have the disadvantage in the all-time head-to-head in the regular season and in the playoffs. Rams are 10-13 against these Carolina Panthers. And not to bring up bad memories, everyone, but do you remember the one playoff loss, everyone? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, Mark, you remember it pretty good, don't you?
Yeah, the Steve Smith overtime catch, Jason Sehorn, and I'm not trying to put that loss on Jason Sehorn, but I
Yeah.
just remember him being in the picture. So a breakdown in coverage. There were several guys involved, and yeah, it was pretty heartbreaking. And a lot of people say this was sort of kind of the end of the greatest show on turf. I don't know if that's entirely true, but we did the greatest show on turf did kind of peter out after that. It was a missed opportunity for this Rams to go get another Super Bowl, at least an appearance. So, yeah, that one hurt a lot.
I mean, guys, the Rams and that, the end of this greatest show on turf kind of regime that was going, let's just call it what it is, right? Bolger was the quarterback. Kurt Warner had been phased out. They were undefeated at home, 12-4, hosting that game. And Mark Bolger has 3 INTs, right? Delhomme is going off. Young Steve Smith, senior, is killing it. I mean, this was a major upset back then, man. And went to overtime, right? Steve Smith had the walk-off game winner in St. Louis. I mean, people talk about this game as one of the most painful, you know. And I was a young boy then. I remember watching football. I don't remember this game exactly off the top of my head. I mean, apologies. How old was I then? 5, 6. I was 7, 8 years old. If I'm just throwing a number out there, 9 probably tops. So I don't remember this game exactly, but I remember a family of mine. It was painful, as they were talking about it the other day. Right, Mark? Shoot.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I don't remember the whole game. I can still visualize that play though, and yeah, man, it was quite the bummer because it was just a missed opportunity, as simple as that.
And it's the last time these teams played each other. Ironically, everyone, on January 10th, as this game of 2020 or 5/2026 season is unfolding against Carolina, is also on January 10th, by the way, if you didn't know. So, fate of the universe, January 10th back in '04, now January 10th of 2026. And that's pretty crazy, too, how that all came together. Again, different rounds, wild card round this week, divisional round way back when, but there's some history for you on that. I mean, how about the last 5 games, though, right? In recent memory. 2013, St. Louis Rams got smoked by Cam Newton's Carolina Panthers. The 2016, the first year of Rams, LA 2.0, they lost narrowly to Cam Newton's Carolina Panthers. Then 2019 to open the season, you remember, we beat Cam Newton's Carolina Panthers. 2022, I was at that game. It was McCaffrey's last game as a Panther, it felt like. Where the Rams were just, were squeaking by. They won that game. I was there. And then, of course, this last game in late November where they lost it pretty pretty sourly. I mean, me and you, Mark, when we got together on that post-game reaction episode, I was not happy. You were not happy. The fan base was not happy. And in that week 13 matchup, excuse me, Stafford had the multiple turnovers, the pick six, the big fumble at the end of the game where it felt like we would at least tie it, maybe win, get a game-winning touchdown. Bryce Young, 3 touchdowns. Blake Corum and Kyron ran well, but they didn't get, the ball enough. Chuba and Dowdle ran the ball good on us. Xavier Smith was our leading receiver, right? Coker, Tetero McMillan, they cooked us. Braden Fisk and others, didn't get home enough against Bryce Young. Derek Brown, their all-world player for them, had multiple amazing plays. And then total yardage, right? We look at the stats here if you're on YouTube, you can tune along. Rams had more total yards, but didn't equate to enough points. Rams had more first downs, but that didn't matter. Carolina was more penalized. They had 7 for 70, but that didn't matter. Third down, Carolina was better, 7 for 15. And then look at that, Mark. 3 for 3 on fourth down for the Panthers. 2 of them being touchdowns. You remember T-Mac on the big, drag crossing route, Coker on the fade route, right? Emmanuel Forbes got cooked on both of those. And then the time of possession, this is the big one though. 35 minutes, 16 seconds. Carolina had the edge in that when the Rams only had 24 minutes and 44 seconds. And you know what else was irritating that day too, Mark, real quick, and I'll end on this. The Panthers had 5 starters out that game. Do you remember when we were talking about that?
Yeah.
5 starters. It was 2 interior linemen. It was J.C. Horn, Morig, who got suspended for, let's call it what it is, hitting the family jewels of Juwan Jennings the game before. And then Christian Roseboom didn't play for them. And they still found a way to lose that game, Mark. That was a terrible loss. And even reliving it in my head, ugh.
Yeah, and I think having those guys out, we as fans have learned the lesson, but at that point, maybe Ram players had not learned the lesson that, maybe going into a game thinking, oh, these guys are all banged up. It's going to be even more of a cakewalk, big point spread. And they're just going to go in and make mincemeat of the Panthers. And, man, a young team just keeps on learning hard lessons, and this was one of them.
Yes, and for everyone out there, apologies, I do have a typo here. It was week 14, not 13. And in this, guys, I mean, up and down, up and down. You're feeling good after the Cardinals win, and then you show up in Carolina and you have a stinker. It's just irritating. And again, one more time for you, if you're on YouTube, you're like, wait, is it week 13? No, week 14. That's when the matchup happened, everyone. So those are the last matchups results, and there's your history, playoff history. Again, not a crazy overall series with the Panthers as they haven't been in existence that long. But, I mean, there you go, man. But, I mean, the schedule for this season for the Panthers, I mean, they're 8-9 and they got in the tournament. It's pretty crazy. I mean, there probably should be a rule in place. Like, if you don't have an above 500 record and you win your division, you lose that home playoff game. But NFL won't do that. Maybe the Rams may be in a situation in our lifetime where that ends up being the case, and I'll be like, yeah, they deserve a home playoff game. But this is the way that division kind of turned out. It's just crazy that they get to host a game being a 500 below team, right, Mark? 8-9. And it's crazy. You look at it from that week, week 13 game, which I guess I did have that right, by the way, everyone. The bye for them, I think you're muted, Mark. The bye for them, week 15, they lose against the Saints, which was, of course, right? Then they don't look good. Then they have a win against Tampa narrowly. Then they lose to Seattle, and then they lose the, almost de facto NFC South Championship game. But here they are hosting a game against us in the playoffs, Mark. Crazy.
Yeah, and this did happen to the Rams and Seahawks back in the day. There was a game, maybe the winner of that game in Seattle. That was, I think it was a Sam Bradford versus whoever preceded Russell Wilson. And the winner of that game might have had 9 wins, might have had 8 wins. And there was the same argument. And I would have had no problem even then with the winner of the NFC West having to go on the road with a piddly ass record. It does make sense. I mean, you say, like, oh, but they won their division. But look at the division. Come on, man. And then look at the NFC West. And, Lions made the same argument last year, and it was, it was legitimate. But, they're not going to change that rule anytime soon.
Yeah, they won't. And they won't. And one more time for you, everyone. It was week 13. My brain is scrambled. It's raining. It was a long
I was
day.
going to say, you corrected your correction. So good for you.
The corrections have been made at double time, everyone. So good on me. My brain is working well today. But crazy. 8-9. It just makes me chuckle. It just makes me chuckle, everyone. But I mean, how about the roster and their best players? as we saw in the last match, I'm sure you have an idea in your own head who they are, but we'll go through it one more time with you guys, right? We got to pull up the depth chart, who's going to be out there more than likely, as we pull up the offense first. Bryce Young cooked us. One of his only games as a professional where he looked legit out of maybe 5 in his career. Again, he hasn't been in the league that long, but how fun. And again, one more time, everyone, if you are on YouTube and you see a red dot next to a player's name, they've been a Pro Bowler before. If you see a green dot next to their name, they've been an All Pro before. And if you see a blue dot, they've been a Ram before. So in case you're seeing those dots next to players' names on the depth chart here. And of course, Andy Dalton, the backup, former Pro Bowl man. He's a good substitute if something were to go wrong with Bryce Young in the game. That's a capable backup who's played good football. And then you got Chuba Hubbard, Rico Dowdle, the 1-2 punch who smoked us last time around. That's a great duo that kicks ass. You got T-Mac, Tetero McMillan. You got Jalen Coker and Xavier Legette. Two of those guys, Coker and McMillan, cooked us in the last matchup. Legette, a high draft pick for them, has been on and off. You got, Jimmy Horn Jr. will rotate in. Hunter Renfro is a man that you'll see rotate in if he isn't inactive. He's been a Pro Bowler before. And you got Tommy Tremble, Mitchell Evans as guys who are contributing the passing game at tight end as well. Then you got Eakin Ikwanu. You got Damian Lewis. You got Cade Mays. Austin Corbett is now the starter at right guard as their former man went down with injured reserve, former Rams Super Bowl champion. And they got Taylor Moton at the right tackle spot, Mark. And, an offense where a lot of talent hasn't put it together, but they did it against us back in week 13.
Yeah, and those running backs, it's all about those running backs, in my opinion. And the big wide receiver, T Mac, Damian Lewis. By the way, we should be familiar with him from his days with the Seahawks.
Yep.
But this is an offense that with Quentin Lake coming back, if Poona Ford plays well, I'm hoping we're going to be in good shape, better shape than last time. We just the fourth down conversions that they had, what are the chances that's going to happen again, right?
Yeah, I know.
A lot of things went their way in that game.
They did. And as you look at the stats for this offense, it's bottom tier. Let's just call it what it is. But of course, the Rams made them look top tier. God.
Oh.
Points per game, they're ranked 27th, scoring 18.3 per game. Yards per game total, they're ranked 27th with 295.6 per game. Rushing per game, they're ranked 19th with 116.3 per game. Passing, they're ranked 26th with 179.3 per game. Red zone efficiency, meaning how many times they're scoring a touchdown when they're in the red zone, they're ranked 24th, scoring a touchdown 53.33% of the time. Sacks given up, 35, which is the 13th least, though, which is kind of shocking, Mark, but their O-line's solid. They're not bad. And Bryce Young and whoever's been at quarterback, they haven't given up the sacks, or he hasn't taken as many sacks. That's a plus positive for them on that mark. And then turnovers, though, they've given the ball away 23 times, which is the 5th most. And we got to take advantage of that, I think, when we play them again. That would be more for keys of victory stuff. But, Mark, it's a bottom tier offense. But the last time Rams played them, they look good, and that's irritating. But we know that more times than not, they're not good.
Yeah, it's just a matter of Chris Shula putting together a good game plan and these guys executing, slowing down that run game. They're going to try to shorten the game, get the run game going, get into good second and third down situations, and use their big receivers. And we just our defense just has to answer the bell, especially early in this game.
Yeah, and that's really key. Poona Ford, like we mentioned, wasn't healthy in that game. He was in and out of the lineup or rotation in that game. Made a big difference of him when he was not out there versus when he was. And hopefully his health will benefit us, as this offense is not good. Let's not make them look good again, right? But as we shift to the Panthers defense, we talked about it earlier. A lot of guys who were not in that starting lineup will be available this game, as we start with this 3-4 defense, right? Evero, former Rams guy, runs this 3-4 scheme that we do. Again, everyone has their own flavor to how they want to do it. But again, real quick, that's a nose tackle, 2 D tackles, 2 inside linebackers, 2 outside linebackers like edge rushers. They run that same type of scheme. And a lot of former Rams, too, as you got Tershawn Wharton. He's questionable for the game, but we're just going to go with the assumption that he will be fully ready to go. Former Ram Super Bowl champion Ashawn Robinson. He's the nose tackle right now. You got Derek Brown, the Pro Bowl, really all pro level defensive end slash, D tackle, who made big plays on us, Mark, last time. The swatted pass that led to an INT, the strip sack on a stunt that led to, the end of game horror scenario on Stafford when we look like we're going to get points. He's back. Watch out for him. You got Nick Scorton, Christian Roseboom, the former Rams Super Bowl champion. He was not in the game last time. He's going to be ready to go for them this time around. You got Claudin Shirless. He's questionable, but again, we're going to go with the assumption that everyone's going to be good to go. You got DJ Wonram, Mike Jackson, who had the pick 6 on us. Trayvon Morig, who got suspended. He'll be back in this game. Nick Scott, the former Super Bowl champion Ram for us. He had the INT in the end zone last game. J.C. Horn, who didn't play because he was out with a concussion from the Niner game. He made his second consecutive Pro Bowl this season. He's a fantastic player. He'll be back in the lineup. And then you got Smith Wade as the nickel back. And, of course, Bobby Brown rotating in, former Super Bowl champion Ram. Robert Rochelle, former Super Bowl champion Ram, may get some action in the secondary if he is needed. But, I mean, look at Mark. Rams scored a lot in the last matchup against them, had the turnovers that, led to more points. They almost hit 30 points, the Rams. But let's be real about it. Morig, JC, and Christian Roseboom all being back in lineup is a huge boost for them. So this defense, they're no pushover in my opinion, honestly.
Yeah, no, they're a good unit. Now, I was watching a game. It might have been the Atlanta game, might have been a game before that, where J.C. Horn was out there, and they basically never threw it that direction. That receiver that side of the field was basically off limits for the quarterback. So Matthew Stafford knows that. He knows about Horn, and McVay will figure out how to be productive without giving Horn opportunities to impact the game. But he is going to, take something away from us virtually every play. It's a good unit. I've always loved Christian Roseman. I've always liked Nick Scott. He was a good player for us as well.
Yes.
Hopefully, and Ashawn, man, I still remember that unit when he was playing alongside Greg Gaines and Aaron Donald, and we had Von Miller. What a unit that was, and he was a big part of it.
Yep.
Basically with the Rams, I think he was a first down defensive lineman. He'd make the tackle and run for the sideline, but
yep.
he knew his role and he did it well.
Yeah, Ashawn was one hell of a player for us. I mean, he was clutch in that Super Bowl run, that whole 2021 season. So this defense is, it's a respectable, borderline good defense, but they just got put in so many bad spots by their offense being terrible or not good enough most weeks. So the stats kind of skewed because they were just on the field having to carry the day. It felt like a lot, Mark, as we'll get into these stats for the Panthers defense. Points per game, they averaged 22.4 given up, which is above average, or 15th out of 32 teams. Not bad, pretty solid. Yards per game, middle of the pack, 16th, with giving up 327.2 yards per game. Rushing, 123.3 given up, which is ranked 20th, so, on the lower half of the league. But passing, 203.9 given up, middle of the pack, 15th, or I guess you could say above average. Red zone, how many times are they keeping out an opposing offense when they're put in that situation from a touchdown, I should say? They're ranked 14th, giving up a touchdown in the red zone only 55.17% of the time, above average. And this is where, they have an issue, which is sacks. They're ranked 28th with only 30 on the year. It seems like it's only Derek Brown. And look, Ashawn's got the ability, but all the other guys on that front or any pass rush situation, they're just not getting it done enough, Mark. But really, Derek Brown has 5 on the year, and he's the guy that leads the team. So they're just not getting there enough. And then turnovers. They have 21, which is 8th best in the NFL. So, I mean, Mark, everyone out there, one of the things like this Panthers defense is they're so-so. I don't believe that to be the case. And I think they're an above average unit that has moments where they play really, really good. And if it weren't for this Panthers offense just being so poor many weeks, I feel like all these would be ranked higher. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of some of those defenses that the Rams had in the Jeff Fisher days, where they're actually not bad, but the offense was so putrid.
Yeah.
By the end of the day, they given up 28, 30 points because the offense was three and out. Don't bringing back some bad memories here.
Yeah.
I think the Panthers are very similar.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that they can't get to the quarterback very well, that's a big mark in the Rams' favor here, because Matthew Stafford, he's going to have some time, and he can really splice and dice this secondary, hopefully.
Hopefully. But again, Morgan, JC back in. Those are big boosts to that group. And we'll see what happens. We'll get to that a little bit later, everyone. But how about the specials, right? You got Ryan Fitzgerald as the main kicker. You got Sam Martin as the holder and punter. You got Trevor Etienne, as the main return guy. Maybe we'll see some Chuba Hubbard on kickoff. Maybe you'll see Hunter Renfro if he's needed. But a respectable group there, Mark, for sure.
Yeah, and their kicker is pretty darn good, I think. And yeah, we'll have to see. The Rams, we started to feel good about our special teams, and then we had that gaff last week, falling asleep on the punt. And that's what we got. That's the one thing we cannot let happen in these playoffs is let special teams ruin the day for us, because feel pretty good about our offense, feel pretty good about our defense. Special teams, still a bit of a question mark.
Yep. And hopefully, with Kadwika running the show now for the Rams, new special teams coordinator, that we don't get burned in this playoff game, or I will grow a lot of gray hairs in real time watching this game on Saturday.
Yeah.
So let's go, Kadwika. Get us in order, please, against these Panthers specialists who, they got juice for sure. But their best players, though, Mark, it's pretty damn simple, ain't it? Rico Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard. As you can see the stats here for what they got in total. I guess you could say the top offense, top defense. Bryce Young only threw for 3,000 yards. Dowdle had over 1,000. Chuba, was kind of benched for a majority of the year, but he's a starting caliber player, as we talked about. T-Mac had over 1,000. Once upon a time, Rams tried to trade up for him, which even to this day, I still like, really? But he's a good player. And he cooked us. So did Jalen Coker, who only has, 394 yards. Felt like a lot of them came on that game. Jesus. Then he got Trayvon Moehrig, right? He's back in the lineup. He leads the team in solo tackles with 65. Then he got Nick Scott and Christian Roseboom as the next guys for solo tackles. Derek Brown has the 5 sacks. He's an all-world, play disruptor, blow up the play, cause havoc guy. Then he got Nick scoring with 5. Trayvon Moehrig has 3. It's just crazy. Then he got J.C. Horn with 5 INTs, Mike Jackson, and then Trayvon Moehrig is the top guys there. So all their best players. It's no shock that it's all these guys, Mark, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Bryce Young, I'm just not sure what to make of him yet. I think in this type of game, I could see him really being a threat with his legs a little bit, extending plays. Yeah. And to me, it's all about those 2 running backs and T-Mac, though. But yeah, Derek Brown, I saw him, some text of him being interviewed. He was not named to the Pro Bowl, which may be one of the biggest travesties of the entire Pro Bowl season. He belongs on it, and that could be a little bit of bad news, because it sounds like he's going to he has something to prove to the national media and fans across the NFL, that this is going to be an opportunity for him. He doesn't get a lot of opportunities to get, to show what he can do, but the first playoff game of the playoff season, and I would not be surprised if he's extra motivated in this game. He certainly will be.
Yeah, the Pro Bowl vote, there's so many fan votes that count towards that now. It's a popularity contest. We got to get some old coaches who are respectable, some old players who are respectable, and get them to vote on it. The fan stuff's fun, but you get guys like him left out, and he whooped our ass last time. So he is a Pro Bowl level player, in my opinion. based on just
Yeah.
his one game against us and what he does on a week in and
Yeah,
week
if he was on the Steelers, Cowboys, 49ers,
Yep.
Packers, they'd be molding his Hall of Fame plaque already.
Nice, yeah.
But he's on the Carolina Panthers.
I know. That's sums it up pretty good. Sums it up pretty good. And those are the stat leaders, but also their best players who lead those stats for the Carolina Panthers as well, everyone. But I mean, hey, we talked about the roster, the history between these two teams, who's going to be out there, the depth chart, et cetera, et cetera. But how about the head-to-head stats, right? Where do the Rams stack up against Carolina? And there's some really good matchups, at least stat-wise, that should go in our favor. So as you look at, we'll start with the Rams defense here, everyone. Points per game given up is 20.4, which is ranked 10th. So they're a top 10 defense in terms of keeping guys out of the end zone, or I should say, keeping point totals low. Good to see. Yards per game, a little more worrisome. They're ranked 17th, giving up 327.5 per game. That's got to get better for this playoff round coming up. Rushing, they're ranked 12th, giving up 110.8 on the ground per game. Okay, bordering top 10. Passing, it's just getting worse, Mark. I'm getting irritated seeing this. They're ranked 18th, giving up 215.4 passing yards per game. And you can say, 204 or 15, that's not that much, Ian. But in terms of the grand scope of the NFL, they're in the lower half of the league, and that's irritating. But red zone efficiency, how many or how much are they keeping guys out of the end zone from scoring touchdowns? They're third best in the NFL, keeping guys scoring touchdowns only 46.15% of the time. It's elite. Sacks, they have 47 on the year, which is sixth best in the NFL. Good to see that number get a lot better. And then turnovers, they're top five. They're ranked fifth with 26 takeaways on the year. So, Mark, yes, the passing irritates you and I, and probably irritates me more because it's just, what the hell, man? But in a lot of important metrics, they're good. And I think that's something to feel good about going into this wild card playoff against a Panthers offense, or if you're on YouTube, you can look at side by side here, is not good. But on the flip side of that coin, the last matchup went horribly. But more times than not, this Rams defense plays good. Maybe the last handful of games hasn't been the case, and we just hope it turns around quickly leading this wild card game, right?
Yeah, and I think part of that, there's two things are at play here. I'd love to see the stats pre Quentin Lake and injury and post,
Yeah.
and hopefully he's going to help fix things. And also, if you look at the snap counts over this period with Quentin Lake out, Josh Wallace being banged up, and Akilla Witherspoon being nursed back in, I don't think they really know who their number 2, 3, and 4 cornerbacks are. Roger McCurry out snapping Witherspoon this last game, which is maybe a good thing. I don't know. So, and maybe that leaves the Panthers at a disadvantage as well because they don't know exactly what the Rams are going to throw at them secondary wise. But we know what they're going to do, but
Yeah.
Quentin Lake, Roger McCurry starting to get involved. This is we can be hopeful that the secondary is going to surprise us in how well they play. At least that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
They better. And I'll save my final thoughts on, defense, offense matchup and the keys of victory segment of this episode. But Rams, objectively, you look at the stats, should be able to contain the Panthers offense. But we'll see if that ends up being the case in the second time around. But how about the Rams offense, everyone? Shouldn't be a shock that they're elite in a lot of categories. Points per game, finished the season number 1, 30.5 points per game. Beautiful. Yards per game, ranked number 1, 394.6, almost 400, which is crazy. Rushing, top 10. They're ranked 7th with 126.6 on the ground. Passing, not a shock, ranked number 1 with 268.1 yards per game through the air. Shout out to the MVP, Matthew Stafford. He better win that award. Red zone efficiency, we've good to see them in the top 10. They have had a lot of years where they were bottom half of the league, and scoring a touchdown 63.16% of the time satisfies my needs and Mark's needs getting in the end zone, right? And then sacks, Only 23 given up, which is tied for the least sacked in the NFL. That's elite. Beautiful to see. And then giveaways, they've only gave away, turned the ball over 15 times, which is the fifth least in the NFL. So, Mark, it's an elite offense. We talk about it every week. When they're not getting in their own way, no one can stop them. No dumbass penalties on the all line, no holdings, no illegal formations, no drop passes, whatever it is, right? Maybe Stafford misfires, whatever. If those things don't happen, and I get it, it's a part of the game, but if those things don't happen, no one can stop them. It's that simple.
Yeah, and the stat that jumps out at me is the sacks. The Rams not getting sacked, the Panthers having trouble getting to the quarterback. That bodes very well for Matthew Stafford and these in this passing game, and that'll help the run game too. The one thing where I think the Panthers may be able to hold up a little bit is in the rush defense. But if Matthew Stafford is allowed to stand back there and go to his first, second, third read, it's going to be a long day for the Panthers.
Yeah, it will be a long day. And if you're on YouTube again, compare it to the Panthers defensive stats that we went over earlier. But look at the sacks benefits us. The rushing yards given up on the ground for Carolina benefits us. So there's big obtainable serious advantages, even though, again, me and Mark, we respect this defense and who's going to be out there. There's still no excuse for this Rams offense to not be productive, in my opinion. That's just has to be that way. They got to score points like they did the last matchup and just not turn over the ball multiple times. And I think they'll be in good shape objectively. But you know what else is pretty objective too about this, everyone, is DVOA. And real quick, for anyone out there that's like, what the hell is that? If you're on YouTube, you can pause this and read the longer version. But the ultra short version, DVOA measures a team's efficiency by comparing success on every single play to a league average based on situation and opponent. So basically, everyone, what it is that it doesn't measure just the yardage, but it's yardage towards getting a first down. And it weighs your opponent, how good they are, the situation. Is it a 3rd and 4 in the red zone? Is it a 3rd and 4 backed up in your own end zone, right? Is it at midfield? And it compares that to how all the other teams have handled that situation in the same season. And it comes up with a pool to get, ranking teams, how good they've been. So as we pulled this up, Rams DVOA versus Carolina's DVOA. If you're on offense, you want your number to be in the positive. If you are defense, you want your number to be in the negative. So if you're here on YouTube, you can pause this chart. Rams are ranked first in the NFL in terms of total offensive DVOA. Rams are ranked first in passing DVOA. Rams are ranked first in rushing DVOA. Elite. How does that stack up to Carolina's defense DVOA? They're ranked 20th in total defensive DVOA. They're ranked 19th in passing DVOA. And they're ranked 25th in defensive rushing DVOA. So based on these advanced metrics, the Rams offense is obviously number one in elite. But Carolina, in a lot of certain situations and more specific situations than none, are not good. Even though we respect who they got out there. But then how about the Carolina Panthers offense? Where do they rank? In terms of total offensive DVOA, they're ranked 26th. In terms of passing DVOA, they're ranked 27th. But in rushing, they rank 14th. Now, in terms of the Rams, where do they rank? In total defensive DVOA, they're ranked 3rd. In terms of passing, they rank 5th. And in terms of defensive rushing, they rank 6th. So the Rams, in terms of the advanced metrics for a whole season, they're an incredibly elite team. Now, how they've been slipping in these last month of games, maybe Quinn Lake has a lot to do with it, which I'm sure. Maybe the health of Bobby Brown and other guys being banged up has a lot to do with it, sure. But you look at this chart, Mark. This game, the Rams should unequivocally, objectively perform well against the Carolina Panthers, right?
Yeah, and last time, you take away those three turnovers and a couple of big plays, and the Rams probably win handily. And this is a reflection of it, kind of tied to the MVP argument, right? The Rams are they're running their stats are a result of playing defenses like Seattle twice, whereas the Panthers' stats are due to playing teams like Tampa Bay twice, who have a defense that's really struggled this year,
And
and
they
that's
still ain't
reflected in.
performing.
Yeah,
Like
right,
that's
right.
yeah.
But the DVOA takes that into account, and that's why you're seeing all these green numbers for the Rams. They've done it against some really good defenses. So yeah, you're right. And if they don't turn the ball over and don't give up any splash plays on special teams and execute on special teams, they should be fine. You'd hope they'd be fine.
You hope so too. And again, one more time for you if you're like, wait, DVOA, DVOA. It's a way to measure a team's success based on yardage, getting a first down, not getting a first down, and then comparing that to the league average and also factoring in how those specific teams are also doing. Like if Carolina's defense isn't good and the Panthers and the Carolina defense is getting stops, then that'll knock the team that they're playing, a la Tampa. So it's a super advanced metric that takes in every possible scenario, available in the world right now for pro football, and it creates these numbers. And again, one more time for you, Rams are elite in everything. Carolina is bottom half of the league, other than offensive rushing, in everything. So, geez Louise, Rams, get your act together, take care of business, at least based on the head-to-head stats, DVOA, and your normal ranking of stats, rushing, red zone, sacks, turnovers, points per game, et cetera, Mark. So there's everyone. Again, the week 13 wackiness irritated us. But I think if this was like a baseball, basketball, hockey series, right, where it's like best of 7, look at the stats back up that the Rams are just better. And hopefully in this, sudden death matchup, Mark, they get their act together. But what's really important here, everyone, is this injury report, right? Who is going to be available for the Rams? As for the Carolina Panthers, I mean, most guys, they're going to be fully ready to go, whoever's not already on injury reserve for them, right? But Dotson, ankle, didn't practice, and this is a walkthrough setting, but I don't think he's going to be good to go, Mark, for the wild card game. That's just the reality. Jordan Whittington got his knee slammed into this last game. He didn't practice. Sean Dolak's not on here, but he got placed on injury reserve with a knee injury. Hopefully he doesn't have anything severe. Jake, me and him were talking on Twitter X, Jake Ellenbogen, and he was like, well, the best case scenario is he's back for the Super Bowl, which fingers crossed that's the case. Hopefully he doesn't have any serious ligament damage. Terrence Ferguson with his hammy, wouldn't have practiced today. Hopefully he'll be good to go. Sean McVay seems positive about that. Josh Wallace, he's still dealing with his ankle. Not good. I mean, he's a starting caliber slot corner. Have him available was nice. Braden's been dealing with the ankle. He was limited. Tyler dealing with an ankle. He would have been limited. And then Devon and Quinn Lake are full go, Mark, which is good to see. So important guys you hope are going to be ready to rock, man, especially T. Ferg. I hope to see him out there.
Yeah, Braden seems like he's been nursing that for a while. And Tyler, yeah. I'm guessing they're just being careful with him because he looked really good. I think he was, I think it's just dealing with his, I think they're just being safe with his ankle. But getting Devontae and Quentin back is so big. And I feel bad. I may have jinxed Sean Dolak. He was my player to watch and a roundtable because I thought he might play for Omar Speights, who was questionable. And then he gets hurt. So that kind of sucks for him. But hopefully he will be back for by the end of these playoffs. But I think it's all about the secondary being healthy. Quentin Lake being back out there, and I'll talk about the secondary more in the keys to victory. But it would be nice to have Josh Wallace available. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he is a starting caliber slot nickel star corner, whatever name you want to throw at him for that. He filled in fantastic for Quentin Lake. Now, Quentin Lake's coming in, which is good. Hopefully he's not too rusty. But to have him in there, maybe he's got a maybe he if he was healthy, he would get some rotation if we go dime, maybe quarter defense when it's super known passing situations to guard a majority of the field. He's capable. So hopefully he'll heal up. T Ferg, hopefully Winnington's okay for depth as well. And again, good to see Devontae and Quinn get the full go that they're going to be ready to rock. And then on the Carolina Panthers side of things, two former Rams dealing with concussions. Bobby Brown, Robert Rochelle, as their, Bobby's a rotational guy. Robert's a backup. Then he got, Shirtless. He would have been full. Robert Hunt, Turk Warden, Zavala. I mean, all those, the Carolina Panthers are going to be, again, other than their guard who went on injured reserve, they're going to be full go, Mark.
Yeah, and bring it on. I think I like where we're at health wise. Just getting those two guys back, Devontae and Quentin, that is just so big.
Big boost, everyone, as that was the injury report. And I'm sure we'll have more updates as the week, goes on. Probably Thursday, we'll know concrete who's going to be good. And hopefully Ferguson's hammy's feeling good, in pregame warmups, so he can be active and contribute and stretch the field. And of course, Tyler Higbee being good to go is a big boost as well. But I mean, man, oh man, Mark, it's this matchup is so important to propel them in a positive direction. They got to just lock the F in. But in this keys to victory part of the episode, everyone, of course, you can just look at it paper roster, like we did with Carolina, and you can just think of the Rams roster and be like, they're just better, handle business. But things aren't as simple as that, is it? Right? So, I mean, Mark, I'm going to start with you. What are your keys to victory for this Rams offense to be productive against a healthier version of the defense they faced early in this year? Again, remember, J.C. Horn, Morig, and Roseboom will all be in the lineup this time around, as they were not back in week 13.
Yeah, I think the Rams are going to, I'm not saying they should, but I think they're going to lean heavily on the pass in this game. Matthew Stafford's just going to be able to stand back there and chuck the ball around at will for the most part. It's just about ball security. It really is. You said it. This is an elite offense that it should be able to overmatch this defense. They're going to be able to move the ball down the field and have a bunch of scoring opportunities. Just about ball security. And I know that's a cliche, but I think that's they're going to be able to run the ball. They're going to be able to pass the ball. They're going to be able to finish drives as long as they take care of the ball. And last time that was the story. It was the only story, in my opinion. The 3 turnovers. They take care of the ball, and on the offensive side, they will be fine. I think Carolina's defense is going to make sure we don't run the ball because they want to shorten this game, and they're going to try to I'll talk about them on offense. So they're going to make sure the Rams don't run the ball and just try to cover like heck on the back end. So we'll see how it goes. It's all about ball security, and I know cliche, cop out, but that's how I feel about it.
It feels like it's going to be a pass fest, right? But I mean, my worry though, Mark, is that if the weather is going to be crappy out there, and of course, every day weather reports always change no matter where you are in the country. But if it is another rainy, wet, cold winter game out there, we just got to be honest about it, everyone. McVay Rams have an 11-14 all-time record in snow, rain, wet, cold games. And one of those losses where it was wet and rainy was that Carolina game about a month ago, which sucks that was the case and that record continued to get worse under the McVay Rams. And then also, everyone, I mean, Rams in the McVay era are 1-2 in the playoffs when the weather isn't great either, right? The one loss coming last year to Philadelphia in the snow, the loss in 2020 when it was a cold game against the Green Bay Packers when we had the number 1 defense and Aaron Rodgers won MVP and, we got shredded. So that concerns me. It does. So with that in mind, everyone, with my keys to victory on offense is run that damn football, because the Carolina Panthers, based on the advanced metrics, based on film based on the classic team stats. They have issues guarding the run. And if this game is getting a little slippery and wet, why are we going to try to air it out where more passes could be dropped? Stafford could get hit and lose a ball like he did last time, getting sacked, or maybe if it was in a dry environment, he holds on to it. We kick a field goal instead of losing the ball, right? Maybe the ball comes out of his hand a little weird because it's wet, a la when they pick sixed us the last time around. I think controlling the line of scrimmage, making them defend the run with Kyron, with Blake. And look, at Didich has done a good job. Thank God. We talked crap last time around saying, how bad backups come in for the Rams and play. We got to give him a shout out, and I'll tip my cap / beanie to him. He's done a solid job. I feel confident that they could run the ball with him, maybe not to Kevin Dotson manpower level, but I think they can have some success, and we'll find out if he can hold up. But I think they have to lean in on that. Let's not go Matthew Stafford hero ball the whole game when it's not necessary. Now, if we do that and it works, great. But I think you got to attack their weakness, which is defending the run, and let everything come to fruition off of that. I think that's my main thing, Mark, because it felt like in that week 13 game, they got away from the run way too much when Kyron was running well, Blake was running well, and they didn't get enough attempts and carries, in my opinion. We got into a throw fest in the rain, wet weather, and things got wacky and we lost. So that's my main issue. My main concern is let's not get into the throw fest of the weather's wacky. Run the ball. Kyron and Blake, they can eat on this defense, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. I just don't know if I trust McVay to follow your
That's fair.
advice, but we'll see.
I know that's fair.
It makes sense, though. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see what happens as the McPass special, the McVay special, me and Farpo would like to call it. We'll see if that pops up this time around. I hope not, as that team that tends to lead to losses. When
yeah, because what you forget about with teams like the Rams is everything can be going great. All it takes is one defensive lineman's arm sticking up in the wrong spot on a pass play, and it changes the whole game. So point taken.
Derek
I
Brown,
understand there. Yeah, right. And if you run the ball, we've had really good. I'm going to knock on wood here. Really good ball security from our running backs for many weeks now. So I think that's is definitely a safer approach. It's even more so if the weather goes sideways a little bit.
Yeah, and we'll see what the weather is, but I'm expecting, Carolina can get cold, man. I got buddies that live out there. It can get winter cold and wet and, borderline snow. So we'll see what it is, but run the damn ball and be efficient. Maybe not run it, third and short, fourth and short. I'm down for play action then, but I think we can run the ball on them and we'll see what happens, Mark. But veering to the defense now, I ask you, Mark, I mean, what are the keys to victory for the Rams defense to be successful against this Carolina offense who cooked them last time?
Yeah, I mean, I don't foresee the breakdowns in the secondary happening again like that. That's just that was just really bad. We didn't have red zone problems. We had 35-yard out problems, if I remember correctly. So to me, it's about slowing down the running game because I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to we need to come out of the gate quickly on defense, force a couple of 3 and outs, and they're going to try to run the ball down our throat for the most part. I think shorten the game, frustrate our defense, and then take their shots with T-Mac and the other receivers when we get suckered in to try to stop the run. We slow down the run early in the game, pad the lead a little bit, and get them out of that game plan. I think that is the key to victory on defense.
Yeah, I mean it's that simple, ain't it? And I agree. But everyone, my thing is this. We could stop the run, I think, with a healthier Puna Ford, who, when he was out there, was a big difference back in that Week 13 game. So I think, first and foremost, let's not get Chuba and Rico Dowdle always getting 4 or 5 yards, right? I mean, last time around, I mean, my God, guys. I mean, they were averaging 4 yards a rush. So no matter what was happening, they were always getting positive yardage. We have to shrink that down to 3 or 2 or 1 or 0, of course. But that's going to be the most key because when the run game is going well for Carolina, then the play action game is way more efficient. The drop back game is way more efficient for Carolina and Bryce Young. And we got caught in that game plan and we got cooked. And that's what happened. So, first and foremost, of course, like it feels like for every team, stop the run. And hopefully, we see a better version of Puna Ford. We see better versions of that entire front seven. And that's number one. Because again, if Dowdle and Chuba are churning up 4 yards, 3 yards here, 4 yards there, we're going to be put in long drives defensively. The Rams offense won't be out there to be able to score points like we know they can. And then we're going to be looking down and be like, well, Carolina had the ball for, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes again. Let's not get in that situation like it was the last time. And then when it comes to the passing situations, now we know it was fluky, but they executed that. They got those multiple fourth down conversions and even the big touchdowns where Emmanuel Forbes got. I need to see this front pass rush perform. It was not good enough in that week 13 matchup. There was no excuse for why Bryce Young was not harassed enough in that game. It was not enough, man. Not enough. This game, this pass rush has to come alive. It's the playoffs. No matter if the weather is good or bad, there's no excuse. They have been on a trajectory, this whole pass defense as a general, but a lot of it has to do with the pass rush. It just hasn't been good enough. And that will help the back end. That'll help Akello. That'll help Emmanuel, Kobe, D. Will, our safeties, Quinn Lake trying to ease back into serious action. That'll help everyone because if this pass rush is not getting to Bryce Young, I will be worried that they'll get got again with T-Mac, with Coker, with the running backs out of the backfield. And that's not good. And we can see another borderline shootout game. We could see another close game. And it's going to have to be with that front. I mean, this is just a D lineman game, stopping the run and then getting to Bryce Young. There's just no excuse for this front to underperform like they did the last time around, Mark. And if they do that, we're in trouble. If they get their act together, we'll be in good shape, no matter how you feel about the secondary and their issues on outside corner right now, right? I don't think I'm tripping on that.
No, yeah, I think all your points are valid. And yeah, the pass rush has been quiet. It really has. I mean, they had a good day last week against the Cardinals, and mop up duty. A lot of it
Yeah.
was where the Cardinals, the game was over, and the Rams were just letting loose on Jacoby Brissett. But other than that, it has been a kind of a quiet pass rush. When you look at the names of the guys and their reputation, Byron Young, Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, Kobe Turner, it just needs to be better and hopefully they'll have a fire lit under them for this game. And they get to Young. Got to get it done.
Yeah, and look I get it. Panthers pass protect well according to the metrics of how much sacks they've given up, which is not that much, right? They're above average in that department, but I screw all that. Look at this Rams defensive front is just way too talented. Time to turn it on, gentlemen, and let's get home and let's go quarterback hunting. And it starts on Saturday, right? And I'll say this one last thing about the pass defense, and including the secondary. If Akello Witherspoon is hurt, injured, whatever's going on with him, we're in trouble, in my opinion, because we showed that Emmanuel Forbes had issues last time. And it's going to be up to Akello to play like he did against Drake London and Kyle Pitts a couple weeks ago, where he looked really good, in my opinion, based off the film. Bigger body receivers. He's a taller guy. He should be able to handle that in theory and has in the past. So it's going to be up to him to get back to that form and handle a bigger Coker, a bigger T-Mac, and they're all their pass catchers, really. So, I mean, if let's just say things go south and the Rams pass defense front-wise is not getting to Bryce Young, pressure, sacks, etc. I mean, we're going to need a Keller Witherspoon to turn back time and play good football again. And if he doesn't, again, I think we're in trouble.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of him. He made some plays and he made some bad plays too. And
Yeah.
like I said, Roger McCreary outsnapped him last week. And I don't know if that's if there's a direct correlation between McCreary supplanting Witherspoon. I don't know if they were out there together or one other over the other. But maybe McCurry is going to help out a little bit. But you're right, Witherspoon is the guy that can. If you think of a big cornerback that can handle a big wide receiver, it's Witherspoon.
Yeah, and then one more thing while I'm just backtracking in my head. Let's not have some stupid ass coverage bust to lose the game, a la Omar Speights playing man-to-man coverage when it was zone coverage everywhere else. If you remember when Bryce Young threw to the wide open, Coker, I believe, in the middle of the field to ice the game. Omar Speights ran with a running back like it was man-to-man. Everyone else was in zone coverage. So let's not do dumb shit like that to lose the game too, or give up free yardage, which is mind blowing. It happened in the Seattle 2-point conversion, by the way, as well, where Omar did the same shit. So let's get everyone get their act together and play up to the potential. Again, the advanced metrics say this team is elite on defense. Time to start playing like it, gentlemen. Right? And I think I'll end on that, Mark, before I get fired up. But back to you, Mark, on the special teams. Anything specific? Keys to victory? Of course, the normal, right? Don't get things blocked, make kicks, punts. But is there anybody or anything specific in this game that you want to highlight for the Rams special teams?
Well, I guess with Harrison Mevis, it could be if there's going to be any impactful weather, I think it's more likely going to be wind, maybe not a crazy wind, but
Yeah.
wind. So, that affects both kickers, though. But we have a kicker that really hasn't proven himself in adverse conditions or from long range. So I guess, I'd really prefer the Rams finish drives in the red zone and didn't have to rely on their kicker. But I think that's wishful thinking. So I guess our kicker has to come through for us. And by the way, Ethan Evans on his kickoffs has been really good. Really improvement there. He had one of his kickoffs was just perfect. And
Yeah.
obviously, we don't want to give up any big returns. So if Ethan Evans continues kicking off like that, or maybe just go back to booming it out of the back of the end zone on the kickoffs, I'd be okay with that. But then there's punt returns. Hey, let's not punt. How about that?
Yeah, that'd be great. I was going to bring this up.
Problem solved.
Kicking ability on kickoff. That's going to be key and critical. Let's make Bryce Young and them have to drive down long, serious, methodical drives to get any type of points. Let's not hand them free, you know, tickets at the 35-yard line to start out with. Let's get them 30, 25, maybe even less than that. And I think that will be a big difference too, which again, less opportunity, more likely that they won't be able to execute long enough to get points, get the ball back in our offense's hands. So that's my specific key. And hopefully Ethan Evans continues to kick well on kickoff, and we'll see how that continues. And of course, weather will be a factor on that. But all right, everyone. We went through the history, the last playoff matchup back in '04 where hearts were broken. We went through week 13 where hearts were broken again. The advanced stats, the regular stats, depth chart for the Panthers, who's going to be out there, who are their best players are, keys to victory, offense, defense, special teams. Now it's time to give you some early score predictions as what do we think here is going to be the case on this, as both me and Mark are picking Rams to win. Are you kidding me? But let's give you a score on that, Mark, so we can, if we're right, we can gloat about it. And if we're wrong, we can say, oh, we knew Rams would score more than that. But I mean, what's your early score prediction, Mark? What do you think?
Well, my prediction is tempered by a few factors. Number one, we talked about how elite this Rams offense is. They're going to put up some points, even if they turn the ball over a couple of times, which hopefully they won't. They're going to put up some points on this defense. I ran across some stats recently. There's actually an article. This guy was talking about the history of two-score favorites going on the road in playoff games, and I think significant majority of those games end up being closer. The underdog may lose, but they cover. So I considered that, and I also considered the fact that the Panthers beat us last time. So I think it's going to be. I'm not going to take the Panthers, obviously, but I think it's going to be under 10 points, under that 9.5, unfortunately. And it could end up being a lot closer. But I went with Rams 31-23.
31-23. All right. I mean, that'd be great. That'd be great. Rams would hit their season average, right? Rams defense would be giving up their season average practically. And that's, sounds about right to me, to be honest with you. But, I can see this game truthfully being incredibly, incredibly close. Again, special teams, Rams defense, they've been slacking, and maybe the special teams has been getting better since Scott Week has been rolling. But I don't trust those. I don't trust those groups. I'm just being honest. I do not trust them until I see them start playing consistently better football. But I do trust. I trust the Rams offense to get their act together. If they don't get in their own way, which is the only ones who can stop themselves are themselves. And with that, I expect a close game, Mark. Honestly, weather being a factor, and if it's not, maybe the margin of victory is larger. But 27-23, that just feels like what it's going to be. It's going to be Rams offense doing its job. Maybe they got to kick some field goals because maybe J.C. Horn makes a good play and Morgan makes a good play on a pass breakup or something. Maybe, Roseboom makes a good tackle that forces a third and, medium that we don't get. Playoff football, man. Things are different. But I got to see this Rams defense step up. I think they're going to give up at least 20 points to the Carolina Panthers offense. McMillan, Coker, the running back duo, Bryce Young, they're going to have confidence coming into this game. Even though, yes, they've been losing a lot since that game where they beat us, they have that confidence of like, hey, we can beat this team. Let's go. They can play more free, which I think, the psychological factor matters a ton in this. But on the flip side of that, I think the psychological factor for the Rams saying, F that, we're not losing to this team again. Revenge, I think, will be enough to get them the victory. But I'm expecting a close one. And if it isn't, fan-freaking-tastic. They have the ability to pull them out. But again, I got to see this defense and special teams be consistent. And they haven't been. So I'm expecting close games. This is the playoffs, guys. Everyone thinking blowouts are going to be a thing. Great if they are, but you shouldn't expect that. And I'm not expecting that. 27-23 Rams win in advance.
Yeah, that a 27-23 game with the Panthers having the ball, driving the field in 4-down territory. That's not a situation I think the Rams defense is well suited for. So hopefully,
yep.
Hopefully it's not that close.
Yeah, I hope so too. There you go, everyone. Early score predictions on this as we hope Rams win, even if it's a 6-3, 3-2. Who cares, right? Win in advance. Obviously, how it gets done, we'll talk about it. But the name of the game is survive and advance. Win and advance. Win and move on. That's it. And I hope that's the case, or me and Mark will be very sad on our post-game reaction, but we're not counting on that to be the case, everyone. But one more time for you, just as a disclaimer, Rams in the McVay era have an 11-14 all-time record in snow, rain, wet, cold games. If it ends up being any of those weather factors in this, it's time to start winning these games. And let's get to 12-14 all-time, as the Rams have a 1-2 playoff record in the McVay era in these cold, wet, rainy snow games. And let's hope that it will be 2-2 if it ends up being the case, right, Mark?
Yeah, I imagine if this game was at SoFi, I can't even imagine what my score prediction would be. It'd be
I would have a larger margin of victory. Yeah,
right.
I would too, for sure. But there you go, everyone. Look, if you're going to the game out there, kudos to you. I wish I could. And hopefully everyone can watch the game on Saturday. I know it's not a Sunday game. Most people have off on Sundays. Hopefully for all you Saturday folk who have gigs, maybe you call off, maybe you request off, maybe you did it in time, maybe you haven't already. This is it, man. These are the games you want to see. Maybe you've missed games in the past, but this week ain't the week. This weekend isn't the weekend. Try to support your Rams. I know there are tons of watch parties in the LA area with all the different booster clubs. I know World Tour Rams likes to hang out and kick it in Atwater Village, if you know where that's at. I know the SoCal Rams Booster Club likes to hang out and kick it in Pico Rivera. on the east side of LA. They have great watch parties I've been to in the past. And shout out the World Tour. I've been to a lot of stuff with them as well. And there's others that I'm blanking on. And I'm sure on the Rams website, they'll post stuff. I'm sure the booster clubs themselves, if you know them, tailgate with any of them, they'll post stuff. So get together with the Rambley, everyone. Whether you want to stay home by yourself, great. You want to stay home with family, cool. You want to go out and have a drink with friends, family, by yourself, great. But if you can get together with the community and celebrate this time of year, the biggest games of the year, it's fun, and all that positive energy in the universe gets shot out to the Rams, hopefully, and leads to a victory. But support your Rams any way you can, and tune in. Don't forget, right, Mark?
Yeah, and don't stress. Enjoy the game. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Rams will come out with a win. It's not life or death here, but man, a Rams win would be really, really nice.
A Rams win would be great, and me and Mark, we're expecting that. Not just because we're Rams guys, but we went through all the nitty gritty with you. Objectively, Rams are better, and if they play to their potential, they should win and advance, and we'll take it week by week from there, everyone. But one more time for you. Thank you for tuning in. If you're on YouTube, you aren't subscribed to the channel already and enjoy our content, subscribe, like the video, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any other video throughout this playoffs. More recaps from Mark coming up, more advanced stats I'm sure he'll dig into. He'll get together with Farbode for the Saturday morning roundtable and Scott. Pre-game pulse. We'll have the post-game reaction after this game, win, lose, or draw. Well, no draw, actually. But you know what I mean. And don't miss any of that, guys. Thanks for supporting. Let's go win another damn world championship. I need that second parade out here. And I know you want it too. So whether you're here in LA, you're elsewhere on planet Earth, rep your blue and gold, rep it proud, rep it loud, and you always got to throw up the horns, and you know what to say. Go Rams, baby.